Hello and good evening, our beloved viewers. It's 9 p.m. You are watching on live RTD channel. Welcome to this English news edition. Here are the major stories. The head of state arrived today in the early afternoon at Addis Ababa International Airport. Djibouti celebrated the International Day of Zero Tolerance for FGM. And on the international scene, in Syria, the city of Sarkep will have fallen. Those were the headlines. Thanks for joining us in our newsroom. The head of state, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, arrived today in the early afternoon at Addis Ababa's International Airport. The president was welcomed by the Ethiopian Prime Minister, Mr. Abiy Ahmed, and Djiboutian officials, including the head of Djibouti's diplomatic, Hamoud Ali Yusuf, Djibouti's ambassador to Addis Ababa, Mohamed Idris Farah, and Djibouti's ambassador to United States, Mohamed Siad Douali. The president of the head of state and the president and his large delegation will take part in the summit of the African Union under the theme Silencing the Gun, Creating Conditions Favorable to the Development of Africa. Upon his arrival at the VIP lunch, the president spoke with the Ethiopian Prime Minister, Mr. Abiy Ahmed, about the 33 ordinary session. The two heads of government discussed the theme of the year and its in and out. These initiatives This initiative is a commitment to realize the aspiration of Africa's Agenda 2063, particularly aspiration for which envision a peaceful and secure Africa, making peace a reality for the African people. On the sidelines of this 33 session of the head of state and government, the president will take part in the meeting on the African Peers Review Mechanism, known as by the acronym as the APRM, and will share the peace and security meeting. All this before the opening of the major summit. In his intervention, the Commission members of the African Union, Abdi Ismail Hirsi, said the committee for which I was re-elected since I have already completed 5 years at the center of this committee, where I am also responsible for the vice chairmanship of the Commission. The committee is composed of 11 members. It is called the African Union Commission on International Law. He also explained why and what can do this commission for Djibouti country. I think he said the key in this kind of a framework is a representation. Countries' representation on the commission of this nature reflect the importance of diplomatic to other countries in the African Union. In his turn, the ambassador of Djibouti accredited to Ethiopia, Mr. Mohammed Idris Farah, recalled the importance that Djibouti has in terms of peace and security in Africa. The majority of state members of Executive Council of the African Union vote in favor of Djibouti. We are two countries at the East African, he said, the level in Djibouti to be re-elected. Today, he said, Kenya is already on the Kenya country is already on the council for the 3 years terms. It will end its terms next year, and that proves not only the rules played by our country in terms of peace and security on the African continent, but above all, the enlightened diplomatic of President of the Republic, His Excellency Ismail Margeli, in matters of peace and security. In an interview, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Mohammed Ali Yusuf, affirmed that the territory session of the Executive Council of the African Union is its works continue today with the summit level meeting scheduled to begin tomorrow. He said that the head of state will participate tomorrow in a meeting of the African Peers Review Mechanism. He will also share tomorrow afternoon a meeting of the Peace and Security Council of the African Union, and so on. The Sunday will officially open the African Union AU Summit in Addis Ababa. Today, said the minister, therefore, we have been working since yesterday on our numbers of items that were on the agenda, and there are many items. There are political issues, integration issues, the report of a sectorial committee, and the health, and so on. There are many things that the executive board is dealing with, said the Minister of Foreign Affairs. Like the rest of the world, the Ministry of Women and the Family celebrate the International Day yesterday, Thursday, in the People's Palace. International Day in the close collaboration with the National Union of Djibouti Women in the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Islamic Affairs, the AND Culture, which support with the support from the United Nations Population Program. This occasion took place in the presence of the Minister of Women and Family, the Minister of Defense in charge of relation with Parliament, Mr. Hassan Umar Mohammed, the Minister of Trade, Mr. Hassan Hamid Ibrahim, the Vice President of the National Union of Djibouti, and the minister and Ms. Fatima Awale, the mayor of Djibouti City, in addition to the representative of the United Nations Children Fund in Djibouti, Ms. Melva Johnson. The United Nations General Assembly had adopted a resolution for 4,667 in December 2012, in which it's called on countries, the United Nations system and civil society to continue to celebrate the day 6th of February each year in the International Day for Zero Tolerance towards female genital mutilation. and also to use this day in campaigns to raise awareness of this practice and take a concrete measure to reduce female genital mutilation. Female genital mutilation is one of the most important and serious problems as it is forms of violence against women and girls where female genital mutilation is an human rights violations of women and girls around the world. In turn, the representative of a United Nations population found in Djibouti commend she described as an awareness campaign and a successful program implemented by the government of the Republic of Djibouti to persuade the people to abandon all forms of female circumcision as a violation of human rights and as a form of discrimination against women. She explained that female circumcision has a complication that often appears during the menstrual cycle or childbirth in indicating that there is no religious or medical justification for this practice. According to the statistic of the United Nations Children is found UNICEF, known as UNICEF, 200 million girls and women between the age of 15 to 49 out of 30 countries are subject to this practice. Female circumstances pose on a health, philosophical and psychological and social talent for women, and most important means of persuading mothers and fathers to abandon remains constructive dialogue and target education. In a speech to her on this occasion, the Vice President of the National Union of Djibouti Women, Ms. Hassan Ahmed Bilil, commended the Ministry's strenuous effort to combat the harmful practice of female circumcision and said, "We are here again to celebrate International Day to combat female genital mutilation and female circumcision, and there have been tenderness efforts that have been made by the relevant authorities such as the Ministry of Women and the Family and the National Union of Djiboutian Women, alongside scientists to combat this bad habit that is harmful to women's health and that is not related to our Islamic religion. This we have achieved many achievements in the file of reducing and the scientific of community and according to the goals set by the First Lady of Djibouti, President of the National Union of Women Djibouti, Khadra Mohamed Haid, to combat this harmful phenomenon. The concerned women authorities this file have taken important steps to educate mothers and necessity stopping in this process. Daily girls advertise the effect. The Minister of Women and Family also delivered an additional speech on this occasion in which she marked the celebrations of the International Day Against Female Genital Mutilation, aimed at considering the practice of female genital mutilation which cause massive harm to our society and that the poor female circumcision suffer from the weak segments of the society. And she said that I am very happy that our country adopted a decision to protect women and children against violence and that this law does not contradict the Islamic Sharia. She added that the pure female circumstance is poor and realistic in the country, and we must confront in a variety of ways road, and we have to create awareness session for society in order to completely get rights of this scourge, and it is not possible to obtain tangible results without collectivity action from all sides, whether scholars, notables, and teachers, media, or youth. Health news now. The Minister of Health, Mr. Mohammed Warsama Diriye, paid a working and inspection visit to Ali Sabih region accompanied by the Minister of Interior, Mr. Mumin Ahmed Sheikh, the UNHCR representative, Mr. Sakor, and all the parliamentarians of the region. The Minister of Health is expected to take stock of the situation and to see for himself the proper functioning of the various health structure in the southern region, accompanied by a large delegation of a senior official from his department. The Minister of Health and his colleague from the Interior were welcomed by the prefect of the region, Mr. Musa Aden Migan, the president of the regional council, Mr. Umar Ahmed Wais, and many representatives of the local authorities of the region. At their arrival in Ali Sabih region, the ministerial delegation was welcomed on their arrival by the Director General of Mr. Mohammed Suge and the entire staff of the hospital. The minister and his delegation listened to the explanation and presentation of the various hospital officials throughout the guide tour of the various departments such as the operating room, pharmacy, and maternity emergency. This level 3 structure, which covers all the regions of the South, has proved to be up to its prerogative by successfully carrying out the receptions and therapeutic care of a patient and by responding effectively to this additional demand due to the population growth in the capital of the region of Ali Sabir. Afterwards, the Minister of Health, Mr. Muhammad Warsama Diriye, and the Minister of Interior, Mr. Mumin Ahmed Sheikh, met with the elders and Sajok notables to discuss together the issues related to the health system in the region and also to listen and take note of their grievance. The consultation took place at the prefecture of the region of and in the presence of the prefect, Mr. Musa Aden Migan, the president of the regional council, and also parliament who took part in the discussion between members of the government and representatives of the population. In turns, the notables expressed their requests for the improvement of the health system in their region. The speakers also praised the grievance and the government's effort to promote health development in Ali Sabih region. Answering each of the question, the Minister of Health, Mr. Mohammed Warsama Diri, explained the both outlines of health policy that is operating in this region, and especially the expansion of the offer of care throughout the region of Ali Sabih. For his part, the Minister of Interior was pleased with the welcome, stressing that the government is on and will always be listening to its citizens in order to satisfy all the requests. And in the wake of his tour in Asajuk region, the Minister of Health, Mr. Mohammed Warsama Diriye, went to Hol at the head of an important delegation to take the pulse of the local health system, in addition to serve to the several executives of his department. The Minister of Health was accompanied by the Minister of Interior and the representative of HCR, Mr. Sakor, the ministerial delegation. Therefore, they made an inspection visit to the various service of Hol Post hospital, which with the officers a wide range of primary health care to the inhabitants of this town, which hosted a large refugees community. The Minister of Health strongly encouraged the health workers of the Hol health post to continue their daily work and to preserve for well-being and health of the inhabitants of this locality. This day was also marked by the visit of the delegation of the extensive works of the health post of Hol, which two new services, namely the radiology and laboratory service. Moving on to Dakhel region now, a high ministerial delegation led by the Minister of Social Affairs and Solidarity, Ms. Muna Usman, and the Secretary State in charge of decentralization, Mr. Hamad Waram, is headed to the unity of region of the Dakhel region after signing an agreement between the National Agency for Social Development and the Center for Leadership and Entrepreneurship, which aim to stabilize the Center for Leadership and Entrepreneurship in cooperation with the National Agency for Social Development. It's enabled Djiboutian youth looking for work to obtain vocational qualifications that are compatible with market requirements. The ministerial delegation was warmly welcomed by the governor and prefect of Dakhel region, the head of a local council, Mr. Abdurrahman Yunis Are, and a large crowd of people income. The aim of this visit was to participate in the launching ceremony of the project aim at the training young entrepreneurs, which was initiated by the Center for Entrepreneurship in partnership with the National Agency for Social Development, and which support from the World Bank. He is to benefit. This is to benefit from this vital project that will enhance the efficiency and capability of young people who are reaching toward the 300 young people across the national territory. The government is currently working on adapting a new approach that supports large public companies to become one of the actors in the new economic model. It should be noted that one of the most important strategy goals of young entrepreneurs centers is to support and keep up with young graduates from the technical and vocational learning department in order to enable them to integrate better in the market. The works these initiatives is part of the government's effort to encourage young people for both sex, female and boys, to become entrepreneurs and to provide the necessary guidance and training to stabilize or operate a small and medium-sized business. In a speech, the prefect of Dakhel region, Mr. Adan Darar Musa, indicated that this course enabled the young people who benefit from it to create income-generating project, and he said this workshop benefits 630 young people from all aspects of ICOM's area. In addition to the income city, it is expected that the beneficiaries are the conclusion of this workshop on entrepreneurship and project innovation, and this will generate many ideas that led them to create income generating project. The prefect continued his speech by saying we also hope that each one of them explore the project he tends to the master that he can successfully implement this initiative and innovative and important project ideas will be found by the young people in the near future by the concerned department. For his part, the president of the regional council, Mr. Abdurrahman Yunis Ara, explained that the project to promote youth entrepreneurship and innovation is an important and very useful project, and we hope that young people benefit from it collectively. The government is always striving to stand by the initiatives and innovative youth, especially those who have academic degrees, and support their development project. He urged the youth of the region who enter to benefit from this project, which is implemented by the Ministry of Social Affairs through the National Community Development Agency and the Ministry of Finance through the Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation, in addition to the ministry in charge of decentralization. On her part, the Minister of Social Affairs and Solidarity, Ms. Muna Osman Aden, and the Secretary of State for Decentralization stress the importance of the project of entrepreneurship and among the young people living in the income area, adding this initiative as benefit from some of the interior region in the implement to start 3 years ago, and during this year several projects have been reached, and 140 project of this project is continuing until now, but now no areas previously enter benefit from this project, and they said we want this time to receive this region of Dakhil to acquire this project. Three Djiboutian youth participate in each project and receive support from the finance and relevant authorities. This project meets the desire to the policy of the President of the Republic, His Excellency Ismail Margile, in the file of empowering the Djiboutian youth and living the interior region and providing them with the job opportunities within the framework of the access of self-efficiency in order to keep peace with the local development witness in the country. Finally, the minister thanked the mothers of this region who participate in the event, so to encourage the ministry to move forward with this project. A bank branch of the Bank of located in the Riyadh market in the municipality of Bulaus was subject to the thief of huge funds by 8 people, as the national police received a report on this left on this thief last Thursday after a wide investigation of the process and the search of those involved in it by one of the bank's official as a new military closing was issued by those involved after continuous investigation and action by the elements of the national police, especially the investigation units of central headquarters. The national police were able to arrest those involved in this process, in which the military clothes and more and money were stolen, and that amounts to 25 million Djiboutian franc, in addition to the military uniforms that they stolen. Those involved in the process will be brought to justice in order to take legal action against them, according to the police. In an intervention by the technical advisor to the Ministry of Labor and in charge of administrative reform, he pointed out the importance of this course project management and planning for the benefit the administrators in the general department of the various ministerial departments. He praised at the same time the tremendous effort made by the participant of session continue expanding thanks to the operation of activators of the session. World news now. Conflict in Syria. The city of Sarkep is said to have fallen city by city. The Syrian army regains control of province of Idlib, the last bastion of the rebels and jihadists after 9 years of war. The town of Sarkep, about 17 kilometers from Idlib, is the last to fall. It was the center of intense fighting for days before the Syrian army finally managed to enter. The Syrian army reportedly took control of large areas of a town and began sweeping operation and dismantling mines and explosives. As the regime Bashar al-Assad gains ground, the inhabitants flocked to Turkey in the hope of escaping the bombs, and long queues of a car with families on board waited their turn to cross. The Syrian offensive in the northwest has left to the humanitarian crisis more than 580,000 civilians have their homes since the beginning of December, and more than 300 civilians have been killed, according to the Syrian human rights. This is it for this edition. Thanks for watching and have a wonderful evening.